Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 2. But today, let's check out Episode 7. And of course, last time in Episode 6, we got to see the long-awaited election to determine the Student Council President. Now, going in, Miyuki had about 90% of the votes, I believe is what they said, so things seemed to be stacked in his favor, but Ishigami insisted that they not only needed to beat her thoroughly, they needed to just completely annihilate her in every single way. Don't know why he felt so strongly about that, but he did. And things didn't go too well for Miko after that because her friend went up there and gave the speech for her, and it was passionate, sure, but a little vague, nondescript, just kind of talking Miko up in non-specific ways. And the crowd was just not interested. But once Kaguya took the stage and gave Miyuki's speech, it was a totally different story. She cited past achievements of his, she pulled up PowerPoint demonstrations to give them information about him, and even gave some enticing campaign promises like that they would get to choose wherever they wanted to go for class trips and whatnot. And conversely, the crowd was loving it. But everything really got bad for Miko when she herself took the stage and she kind of froze up. She seems to get anxiety about public speaking, which, I mean, who doesn't, right? It's a very common thing, but she froze up real bad, unable to say anything when she got up there. And everyone in the audience was just kind of, whispering about her. Some were even laughing at her overtly, which, that sucked to watch. I mean, she doesn't deserve to get laughed at just for having stage fright. It's not cool. And heck, even Ishigami knew where to draw the line, and he was the one who said they needed to completely destroy her in this election. Even he said, this is too far. So he and Miyuki came up with a plan in order to win the election while sparing Miko the embarrassment of getting laughed off the stage. Because she doesn't deserve that. So Miyuki went up on the stage and turned the speech into a debate, just calling out her policies right to her face, which naturally got her a bit more fired up, and she was able to clap back at him in defense of her ideals. And once he got her talking, she was able to articulate perfectly what she believed in and why, and it actually got people in the crowd way into it, fully invested. There were people standing up and cheering and clapping for her. She turned a lot of people to her side. Truly, it was one of the nicest things we've seen Miyuki do for somebody, even at his own expense. Because even though in the end, Miyuki did still win the election, she came very close to beating him. He won by only like 40 votes. Remember, he went in there with 90% of them, and in the end, he actually only barely won. And people became so passionate for her policies that she wanted to implement that they even started a hashtag buzzed for buzz cuts trend on Instagram. Because seriously, she actually made a very good point about that. I'm not sure how the pigtails would help with saving time doing your hair, but the buzz cuts, for sure. So yeah, things actually went pretty well for Miko. She didn't win, but she came close. She was able to give the speech. She actually got people on her side for once, because up until now, she hasn't been good at that. We found out that people were, really persecuting her for, attempting to basically police the school and tell everybody what to do. But once she actually got up there and explained what she was doing, a lot of people actually agreed with her. But of course now Miko is going to be a part of the student council. Surely it's going to be a good time there, but one last thing to make note of about the episode was a nice little interaction with Kaguya, because really the past few episodes Kaguya hasn't been as much of a focus. We've had a little bit of a Miko-centered arc here, but Kaguya had a great moment where she was just racked with anxiety, tearing herself apart because she kind of passed out, and then she was hoping that Miyuki would come and check on her, but he was busy cleaning up after the election, and she was just real bent out of shape about it. But eventually he did show up and even asked her to join the council again, just like she wanted him to. And she even gave him the universal sign of absolutely I'd love to. And man, it is great to see how much Kaguya and Miyuki's dynamic has evolved from the beginning, because when it started out, it was very clear that, it was their pride that was standing in their way of being together, or at least that's what they wanted you to think. But now, it's a lot more apparent that really, the two of them are just way too anxious to confess to the other one, especially in the case of Kaguya. And that is a lot more of a reasonable thing to be held back by. Anxiety is a lot tougher to get through than pride, for the most part. And it's something that I can relate to far more. Long story short, great episode, but that's enough rambling away about it. We got episode 7 to check out, so let us begin. Where do I even begin with this episode? I mean, started off with underwear. Yeah, with Ishigami getting real passionate. Again, the guy gets flared up over a lot of things, but the boxer briefs discussion is what really got him going. And he's got quite the perspective on wearers of boxer briefs. And by the way, that beginning part was so jarring to me that I seem to have just completely disconnected it from the actual first arc here. Kaguya wants to undress him until like halfway in. I just completely forgot that would have anything to do with it for a little while. That's just how sudden it was. By the way, classic mix-up there with Miyuki. She asked, hey, what kind of underwear do you like? Totally got it mixed up. I guess I can't really fault him, because she phrased that in a kind of vague way. But can you believe Kaguya's initial plans were to somehow pull his pants down? To try to figure it out? I mean, I know her options were limited on how she could quantify that, but her first thought, spill coffee. And I guess I'm only gonna have to address this once because it happens, you know, the same way 3 times. Poor Miko. Poor Miko. Her first introduction as a recurring member of the council, and this is what she gets. Just walking in 3 different times in varying misunderstanding circumstances. And it kind of just escalated each time for her too, didn't it? But the rest of that proved to be interesting too, with trying to get her to read that manga there, which she did, and it did have the desired effect. Only problem is that effect spread to nearly everybody there. In fact, the effects were so strong, it transformed the series into a spin-off AU called Girly Kaguya Wants to Be Confessed To Syndrome. An extended post-credit sequence, which was quite the joy to watch. Never been happier to be wrong about an episode being over. And if you ask me, Fujiwara had one of her best interjections, so far, just bursting in talking about sumo wrestling. Very random, and yeah, that'll definitely shut down their manga brain. At least temporarily. I don't know why I thought the episode was over. It had only been 16 minutes at that point. I guess I was just having so much fun watching the rest of the episode that I wasn't keeping proper track of time. But man, cycling back, that manga brain effect was so strong that it even made Ishigami interested in Kaguya and vice versa for a little bit, where they just fully transformed into this love triangle romance story. And in the end, I said Miyuki wasn't being rejected, but yeah, he pretty much was, actually. I mean, because Kaguya's like, who needs the aquarium? I'm at the aquarium right now. And as such, Miyuki had to go with Ishigami to the aquarium instead. And yeah, of course it's still gonna be a good time. Hanging out with a bro at the aquarium, checking out some cool fish. It obviously doesn't sound not fun. So golly gee, I don't know what happened to this episode, but it was one of the most off the wall and hilarious just of the whole series. Definitely. I mean, it was just constant. It just kept going. And I am not complaining. Good times. But for now, I think that's all I gotta say, guys. So, thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Subscribe to be updated on more. That would be fantabulous. But next time, episode 8, and if the next episode can keep up the pace with this one, we're gonna have a good time indeed. Just like we did here. I really don't have much else to say. It was just a really good episode. And I feel bad for Miko being exposed to what she thought was some of the very things that she was going to strive to put a stop to at the school. Dang. But like I said, that is it. So till we meet again, I will see you guys later. Hey Siri.
Hello there, I'm Siri. What can I do for you?
Define boy.
Boy is a vulgar slang and derogatory term. It means a weak or contemptible man.
Well, there you go.